My name is Brendan Casso with the World Calisthenics Organization. As you can see behind us, we just got done with the Battle of the Bars, which is a freestyle calisthenics championship here at the Fit Expo with my brother here, Matthew, and one of my former athletes turned main sponsor, Johnny Garcia. As you can see, big Circularity Finance behind us. Without this guy's help and being a part of our community, we wouldn't be able to put on events like this. So it's sponsorships that we run off of, but we do this for the community. And what we're trying to do with Johnny is usher in the new era of Web3, blockchain technology, the value of NFTs, not in a sense of artwork, but in a sense of functionality for the company and for health and wellness professionals. And Johnny's literally created a company that is going to offer these types of benefits to companies for health, for the opportunity to create microeconomies within your own company to help your employees benefit of health, and a lot of other things. So this is Johnny Garcia, the co-founder of Circularity Finance, our title sponsor. And I'm going to pass the mic to Johnny so he can tell you a little bit about how blockchain and health all come together.
Really appreciate it. And Matthew, what a pleasure to meet you. And once again, Brendan, it's great to be able to go ahead and just really talk about the most important things, which is how can our athletes leverage what they already do to create a bigger impact? And it all comes back to how is our biometric data being used in the future, and how can we use it right now to create more impact through financial transactions that may benefit the outcome of the athlete's well-being.
So I'm just going to, sorry to pause.
No,
biometric data, I've got a mic,
Oh,
yeah. So
please.
biometric data.
Yes, sir.
To break that part down for me first, because I'm kind of dumb on this whole stuff.
I'm really happy. And actually, that's perfect. Yes, it's all about the heart rate initially. We could also look at sleep data. But what really happens is
things
that,
like this,
exactly, Aura Ring, right? I think is what it's called. And we leverage this biometric data in order to trigger what are called smart contracts. And smart contracts are essentially being triggered through data if it meets a specific parameter or threshold that was indicated. So this could mean that if you want to guarantee that an athlete is being evaluated by how much time they're spending in a fat burning zone, you can measure that. Or obviously if you want to go ahead and measure their max heart rate, how much time they're spending really pushing that max heart rate, you can measure that. And then you attach financial outcomes to it. And so these are what these tokens essentially become. The tokens are achievement medals, loyalty points, if you want.
Okay.
And each ecosystem can determine what they do with them.
So if I just sort of catch up with you then, so what you've got, let's say I've got a MyZone heart rate strap or an Apple heart rate strap, and I go to 24-hour fitness. So what you're saying then is that if I own this gym, I could see what you're doing through your MyZone or whatever, and by seeing what you're doing, you're not just telling me. I can see without any question exactly what you're doing, and then in return for that, give you some kind of benefit. Is that?
You're very close, because
Okay.
the seeing part is actually where the value is at. It's private personal data about your biometrics that's actually protected. And it's only triggered if certain thresholds are met or parameters are met. So in this case, let's say that we use the evaluation that you must spend 5 minutes above 80% of your maximum heart rate. So if the athlete is able to meet that, the visibility is not found in the data, but the data triggers the compensation. So nobody can see the data. The beneficiary receives the reward or compensation, and that is what allows them to be able to have an identifier of effort. And that is essentially not the data being revealed, but it's the compensation, right? So this is a way we've done it, where it was originally created so that way there could be transparency for the investors, and that way they can monitor the health of the business from the CEO, directors, to the employees. And so what that means is who's meeting their workout requirements and who's not. It's black and white. I don't want to see where they're at. It's just who passed and who didn't. And so if you go ahead and look at who did 80% of the effort, well, what would happen is that there would be somebody that has, let's call it an NFT, and somebody who doesn't have an NFT. And that indicator allows you to understand who's moving forward with you in your company, achieving success as the company is trying to improve performance as well, right? Because if you have an employee and they're not earning their NFT, that means that they're essentially maybe going through some kind of difficulty at home, maybe some emotional stress that they're going through, they don't know how to articulate it. And this is an indicator for the company to know they're not meeting their requirements to stay healthy. This could affect the company down the road.
Okay. So again, just to catch up then, so when you say the company can see it, so if you own a company then, one of the ways that this could be used is you want to make sure that the people that work for you are staying healthy. And if you've got, let's say, a heart rate strap, you can see if they do some form of movement or exercise so many times a week. But without sharing that data and having the whole privacy issues of, well, my company can see all of this private information, what you're saying is it's kind of invisible in some way, but the reward, but there's a reward given if they meet what is deemed as a sort of a minimum requirement.
Right, so let's break it down easy, right? So a company with 10 employees, I go into Circularity Finance, I prove who I am, which is your KYC process, know your customer. I have to put my ID in, it's a facial recognition scan. Then I have to go one step further. I have to do KYB, which is know your business. Once again, I have to put my ID, and I have to put my my federal tax ID and all the then they look it up to make sure that I'm an operating business. Because what that then does, it eliminates all the potential of fraud, money being used on the blockchain for terrorism, drug transactions, things like that. So it's very secure. But what it does is it gives you the opportunity. So I have these 10 employees, I go through my process, I then decide I'm going to create my microeconomy for my company. That means I get to create, if I want, a token, similar to crypto, right? It's a digital identifier token. So I can then say, okay, all 10 employees, we're doing a new health program. CFI is going to have a backlog of coaches, which are some of our athletes and just wellness coaches, that's going to be their corporate health side that will take care of the employees. But what you're going to do is everybody that has an IoT device, whether it's an Oura Ring, whether it's an Apple Watch, a Fitbit, or MyZone,
doesn't matter.
As long as the app can read that data. Heart rate is really the only way we can measure it currently, because we can't say you're doing push-ups or squats. We just know your heart rate's going up. So what happens? I create that economy. I create my token. Now it's my employees are going to benefit how? If you meet 80% threshold every, say, 4 days a week of exercise, number one, we know that makes our employees more productive. Health benefits. So, but what else do I do? I start then taking that token and go, okay, well, that NFT is going to have what value for my employees for doing their work? So it could be the end of the year, I'm going to say the top 5 employees that hit this 95% threshold and are doing their work. That smart contract is now not only going to be rewarding you with tokens that could potentially be cashed out for real money, if we're able to gain value with them, okay, or you keep those there and the company say, okay, well, if everybody meets their threshold and is staying healthy, if you complete all of this with your NFT, I'm only seeing the data that they completed it, that the trigger was actioned with the blockchain, the contract sent them their token or their NFT, and then I could say, you know what, you're gonna get your bonus. An extra trip somewhere, or I get to literally make up whatever I want that value to be for the benefit of my employees. Maybe it could be a vacation.
It's all dependent upon the corporation that wants to offer certain benefits. And that's really where he's saying, because as really well put, because it is about that. It's the relationship between the corporate business owner and how he wants to compensate them. So our first partnership after the WCO has actually been a digital gold token. So what that means is it's Sharia compliant. That
What's
means
that?
That basically means it follows Sharia law. It basically means that in the UAE or in the Middle East, you can go ahead and understand that this is fully backed by faith, as they would say here in the United States, right? Well, it's a one-to-one asset. And so it's being stored somewhere. This is financially safe to go ahead and exchange your digital tokens for physical gold. and it is backed by the nation. So this is incredible because now it allows us to be able to go ahead and say, look, if a business owner wants to take care of their employee for less than $1,000 a year, they'll be able to guarantee that some of that money, 60%, goes back to them.
And what happens now then? So you're using blockchain technology to do this, which obviously is pretty unique. But in these types of kind of incentive programs, I guess you could call it.
Correct.
Like what are people doing today, and how is this a big jump from? Because I'm, like I say, I'm trying to understand it. We've had lots of conversations about this, and I'm just trying to think of, what's the kind of big difference that we should really be getting our heads around so that we can appreciate where this is going to be.
I think I know exactly the best way to put it. So there's a big issue right now for most generations transitioning their wealth to the next, right? It's the handoff of wealth, and it's the accumulation of wealth. So there is no retirement plan for people my age right now that we could really feel like we could trust. Pension funds, they don't really know where to put their money, so it's not guaranteed that they'll be there. And you can't really trust banks to make that decision for you either. So what it comes down to is, can you find a way to control your finances where whatever your effort may be gives you some type of return or compensation in an asset that is gonna hold its purchasing power over time? And that's why this protocol was created in such a way where, let's keep it simple. It's a 2-month program. I pay $100. Now, if I fulfill the requirements of the protocol, which means you work out 80% of the time, then you get $60 back. It's that simple. If you meet 80% of the requirement, which is to work out 80% of the time provided, then you get 60% of your value back. The other 40% is being used to take care of certain things. Number one, charities, right? If you pay $100, what am I gonna do with that? I'm gonna go give it 10% to charities. Then I'm gonna go ahead and take 20% to go ahead and convert it into gold. So that way, the benefit of what that person gets, you know how we said they're gonna get an NFT that they can stake to get coins. Those coins that they receive when they're staking their NFT, it's the only asset, those coins, they're called health tokens. The health tokens are the only way you can get the gold that was purchased.
Okay.
So that 20% that was there, we can make it 30% if the corporate owner wants. It depends on how much they want to be able to put into their savings account.
Right.
That's why it's a personalized exchange of value between the corporate, how they invest in their employee, how the employee invest in themselves. And then if they are able to hold each other to that agreement that I want this company to be successful, I'm willing to take care of my health, you take care of me, I'll take care of the company. It's a relationship.
Different 401k.
Exactly.
Okay.
The 401k is over, because it's about giving the individual the opportunity to know that they hold the asset, the digital gold, in their possession. It's just that I have to go take it to my health token. I go to the gold vending machine and I swap health for gold.
What is it replacing that's currently there today in the world of business or for as an individual?
You know what? I think I explained how it benefits the employee.
Right.
I want to go back to maybe clear up how it benefits the company, because if we look at the way that it works, $100, 8 weeks. If the user meets the 80% demand, they get 60% of the value that was deposited by the business owner, right? They want to take care of their employee. But if the employee does not meet that requirement, now the business owner gets to see that compensation come back to them, which allows them to then decide, what do we do with this extra revenue that's coming back, right? We invested in our employees only because when the business is able to see the money come back to them, this is when you can automate the yield. Because essentially, if money comes back to you, what do you do with it as a business? You can go ahead and invest it, or you can go ahead and bring it back to the traditional financial system, which would mean bring it to your bank, right? Because that's the thing that's happening right now, is that we're creating value on chain. And then it's only when you bring it back to your bank that it's a different type of corporate decision. The advantage here, what makes this all different, is that it kind of removes a financial advisor in a sense, because it automates the process between value coming in and what asset you could purchase that may give you some yield. So right now you can take the time to invest into your employees. Your employee will either perform or lack performance. If they perform, they get their money. If they lack the performance, you get the money. But you can immediately go ahead and take that and get it a 5% return on that money.
Okay.
By buying a US Treasury bond that's directly on chain.
Right.
And so what this allows you to do, it's like a savings account for the business. If I invest into my employees and my employees don't want to take care of themselves, I'm still going to grow my revenue as a business. Second, the employees that do fulfill their obligations, they're able to have a separate retirement account, you can say, that they can touch, nobody can take from them, it's for their legacy. And the last thing is obviously...
Like a pension.
Exactly.
Kind of.
It's a win-win, right?
Right.
So if you look at,
Very well put.
if my employee does complete the 80%,
Yeah.
they're getting that $60 from me, the company.
Right.
They could do whatever they want with it. They could invest it into tokens, into gold. They could cash it out. If they don't complete it, you get the money back.
Okay.
You can then invest it. But now, if they do complete it, you don't get that money. It's still a win because now your employee's more productive. Their health, less sick days. So it's.
And what will it be taking? We mentioned it just before the camera went off. So at the moment, then, is there something then that, like, because I'm not from America, so I don't understand all the programs that are in place. But are large companies then currently doing this, but in a different way today? And then this will give them a better way of doing that.
The closest I could think is a 401k.
That's exactly it. So
Right.
the ability for an individual to have some type of financial control or potential for growth is kind of taken away because of this idea of a 401k.
And for people who are listening
Yes.
who don't know, so what's essentially a 401k?
The best way to think of it is if I set a certain percentage that I want to go ahead and put away from my paycheck, the business will match it.
Right. Yeah. And in England we call them like a pension
Yeah, it's a
scheme.
pension,
So the individual puts a certain amount into a pension.
I match,
Company
yes.
matches it. So what you're saying here then is the terms of you providing that match could be a health related one. Is that kind of right?
It's a very good way to put it, actually.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so if we had this sort of 401k, or in England we call it a pension, so we got this new scheme, everything, if you put in $100 a month, we'll match it. However, the conditions of this are that you need to do, work out 3 or 4 times a week. And I won't necessarily have a look into what you're doing, but this system that you've got will recognize whether you do that, and it will automatically just drop that in.
Yep.
Totally.
Like a smart fitness trainer.
Okay. And if you don't do that for that particular month, then what will happen is me as a company owner, it will recognize that it didn't get that picked up, and it will go into a separate place.
That's right.
But what it's doing is tracking it in a way that we can't currently track things like that today. So that's one component. And then the second part then is that this money that's being moved around, whether it's for the employee or for the corporate side, is it's going into some sort of crypto investment as opposed to a regular bank interest, or is that right? Or
A simple way to put this, the word crypto is a little bit scary for people. So what I like to say, it's called blockchain.
okay,
Because the relationship between blockchain and crypto is the same as me and Brendan doing a trade or settlement, and we have to record it somewhere. So the blockchain is the paper, the crypto is the pen. So every time that crypto moves somewhere, it's like you writing another transaction on a piece of paper. That's called the blockchain.
Okay.
So if it moves, it's recorded on the blockchain. Without movement, there is no recording of it. And so that's all this is. It's a relationship of tracking how data is moved.
okay,
And transactions are settled.
But varied with anonymous wallets.
okay.
That's
okay.
right. So the whole point here, as we continue to, because where it really starts is that circularity finance was not built for its sole purpose to be a corporate wellness platform. However, it's one of the additional benefits that companies that have used circularity finance to start building value for their community on the blockchain. So this means if I bring my company and my employees onto the blockchain, I'm allowing them to tie their email, their identity, and their wallet into one. And what this does is it allows them to build a reputation outside of the banking system.
Okay.
And this is very
And the
important.
benefit of that is in case there's issues with the banking system, or the banks go down, or the value of your
goes down.
And so your currency
It's all backed on gold.
Okay, I'm with you. That's all right.
Yes, sir.
So let me just throw out another scenario. We have these commission programs that we pay sales agents. So if certain people buy one of our products, then what we do is each month, if we kind of have a look at, your company sends us how many you've sold.
Yep.
It comes into us, and then we kind of check have we got an invoice? This is your name, and then we make a commission
human
payment.
error that can happen right there.
Right. So
That can all be automated.
So that can be automated.
Yes, sir.
So if businesses are trying to think of how you can apply this in a number of different areas, then what you've got, it sounds like you've got a very clean way of automating a process of if some sort of transaction happens, rather than an individual people having to go and check it, that your system.
Data triggers financial transactions.
Okay.
And that's the thing, that right now your supply chain management systems or manufacturing systems are separate from your banking.
Right.
Because the bank is, in a sense, controlling the railways.
Okay.
The moment you connect data to bank or financial transactions, you have automation, and it expedites business operations.
Right. So you've got a sort of a kind of automated process, which is secure, which is one part of the system, and then the second one is the remuneration in terms of what I get for anything I do. That's outside of the banking system. So it's a safe currency that you can, if you want to convert it back into dollars, you can do that.
Or pounds.
Or pounds or whatever, but it's kind of there's a type of value that's being stored securely that isn't impacted by
Inflation.
all of that. It's right, okay, and so you think that, I guess, one day then that people will start having this separate kind of, I'll call it a bank account, but some
The ability
sort
to earn in an outside currency that's not affected by inflation.
Okay.
It is determined by your own ability to create a networking impact or effect, because adoption is based on how people enter your network. A business is a network that, as it gains traction, the network grows.
when you say network, that's the bit I didn't get. So what do you mean when you say your network grows? What is that part?
Yeah.
What is that?
So right now, the WCO will start to continue to see growth because athletes will be able to continue growing with the WCO, and now they can tell their friends to join. So the network grows.
Okay.
Right?
Not
And
network, computer network.
Not computer
Okay.
network.
Just like a kind of a tribe, a people, a
Exactly.
community. What's the
Cohorts.
benefit of that growing then?
So now that there is a beautiful experience here, as you know, champions are made here, and world champion was just decided. So now there's going to be an asset that's going to be essentially put out there for the public to purchase.
Which
NFT.
is
An NFT, right?
Right.
Essentially, it's a piece of digital asset that somebody can purchase to show, hey, look, I thought that was one of the greatest moments. Memorabilia, just like when you buy a trading card for baseball,
okay.
the very much the same concept for this sport. Now,
Okay.
here's the thing. There's two ways to take on what is blockchain technology. One, you can use it to go ahead and raise capital to make these experiences more fruitful for everybody, right? If I sell the NFT in the currency of the blockchain, this could be Ethereum, XDC. That's gonna make me money. I know, I'll cut it quick. This is gonna make me money. However, to increase his network value, he would price that digital asset in the WCO token.
Okay.
So now,
So on that bit, just trying to get to a point. So, because I know there's a bunch of stuff, like NFTs, and that whole thing's gone down. If we have to apply it to just regular, boring businesses, if you've got a fucking hair salon, or if you've got a, physical product company.
I know your question. So NFTs have a really bad rap because of what happened in the digital crypto
Some of it,
world.
people are kind of saying it's like, okay, yeah,
It's artsy fartsy. I'll spend 10,000. Maybe it'll grow in value. This is an NFT, traditional NFT.
utility.
This is a utility NFT.
Right.
So there's a function to this. So for the champions, for example, I want to capture that moment in history of Tony winning the world title. I create those 5 digital NFTs. Those people, his fans, can buy them. What else do I give it in functionality? Well, I want to tell that smart contract that if you buy this NFT, you automatically get access to our education workshop.
What if I own a muscle building gym, like a
If
bodybuilding?
you're in Orange Theory, and I tell them all this time, if you're in Orange Theory, you walk into Orange Theory and what do they have? Heart rate monitors, you're watching the heart rate on this. So now I tell my members, we're gonna create a microeconomy within Orange Theory. We're gonna create the Orange Token. Now it's our own circular economy that I'm investing my money into building for my employees. Every time for my gym, every time a member walks in, works out, downloads a wallet to be part of this economy, they do their workout, I can reward them in Orange tokens or Orange Theory tokens. And what are they gonna do? Well, maybe you're proving you're coming in every day now because there's a benefit. Well, if you do that every day, your membership's free because you're earning it in sweat equity.
So what you're kind of doing then is you're rewarding loyalty. So I guess for a gym, the issue is that people don't come in, and if they don't come in, they don't keep their membership. So you can say, okay, come in 3 times a week, and then because maybe they know that if you can get someone over the 3-month or 6-month period, whatever that figure is, they're going to stay a lot longer. So you can almost like give them some form of discount.
Absolutely.
By tracking that. Okay.
Effort turns into financial benefits. And so this is the whole point where if somebody has completed, let's say 6 months, that's 3 courses of 2 months each, right?
Yeah.
So basically they go 2, 2, 2. That means that at that point, if they have those 3 NFTs, maybe at that point their rate is 50% up because they have 3.
So on that, so let's go for that one because I think that will be quite relevant to the audience.
Yes, sir.
I've got a gym, or I've got a chain of gyms, and I know they've got really good sort of software systems in general, but I know it's very difficult for people to figure out real retention. It's quite a complicated system.
Yes.
So if we had a big chain of gyms then, and we knew that if you could get somebody to come in 2 or 3 times a week for 3 months, the chances of them staying to a year increases. And I know there's some interesting science around that. So that one member will be massively more profitable if I could get them to do that. However, I'm not going to be able to figure that out because I've got like 1 million members or something. So this would automate it. So you can almost sort of put in a way to say, you know, if you do 3 months, it drops. If you do 6 months, it drops. So it could all be automated.
Price and their performance.
Nobody has to touch it, but they're just seeing, oh, you know, Matthew, it's come down, it's come down. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, it really has created, as you said, the incentive to show up beyond the first initial momentum that you have, right? Like, I want to achieve this, and then it's like, I'm doing this, and now I'm getting wealthier and in shape, or my membership has gone down in price, and I'm still getting in shape, saving.
So this blockchain really, because of the way it works, allows you to do very sophisticated transactions and rewards in a way that's totally secure, that probably before that was extremely difficult or expensive to do.
Secure and transparent.
Okay, and then beyond that, you've also got this value part where maybe you could be, which I think is gonna, from my perspective, it may take people a while to figure out getting wallets and keeping their money all that. I'm sure that will come.
It's transitioning to a very smooth process.
Yeah, but the second thing is that you could also say, oh, and by the way, you know, $10 is going to go to reduce your membership, and the other $10 is going to go into an account, a health token, and that health token, if you want to cash out anytime, you can go and use that in Dick's Sporting Goods or...
That's right.
Or
these are called liquidity pools.
Okay.
And that basically shows, and this is what I love about it, is that it shows the corporate ethics about value distribution. So let's say that you're a business owner that says, hey, look, I believe I should save 10% of every dollar I make. Well, show it with the way that you distribute value immediately as it's earned. And so what that means, let's say that you have 3 accounts: operations, charity, and then employees, right? So in case I want to expand, I got my employees and I got my charity. All those 3 happen immediately on the transaction. And the ability to prove that these wallets are receiving upon transaction, that's the transparency.
Right,
and then the peace of mind for you is that it no longer requires having individuals having to oversee it. The data is triggering the transactions, not the person.
Brandon and I spent a lot of time talking about this, and I said it's a very complicated thing, and I'm not particularly a super old person, but I can imagine how, like, it's so powerful, But it's trying to figure out a way where you can kind of really simplify a few of those benefits and just translate it into what's happening in the world today, and then almost like reverse it back out again. But the retention one's interesting because I know a guy called Paul Bedford that's done a lot of research, and he said, and I believe he's still correct, he says nobody really understands retention. That a lot of this is averages, where it's saying, well, we're having 2 data points, and it doesn't know my retention or someone else's, but it kind of does an average, and it says on average, this is how long people stay. But if you can kind of break that down into an individual level, and then, as you say, provide rewards and benefits, and whether it's savings or free protein or whatever, I can see that being very, very valuable to, let's say, a health club market. I don't know whether that's being done now.
Which relates with doctors.
Well,
because doctors will be able to go ahead and ask you how many health or proof of health NFTs do you have?
Well, that's another good thing that when I did the podcast through the pandemic, I was having a lot of conversations with people that were lobbying for the government, and I said, look, come on, guys, like, surely the government realizes that if people exercise, it's a reason for gyms to open, and it's obvious. And when I spoke to someone that's actually quite sensible, that wasn't sort of full with conspiracy theories, they said the problem is the fitness industry cannot go to government and demonstrate exactly what's going on in gyms. There's no ability to collect that data and to say to government, look, we've got 2 million members here. This is what they're doing. This is what's happening. These are the effects. This is why you need to be supporting gyms. I know that was the case in the UK. My guess is it was something similar in the US because they didn't get the funding from the government like other industries. And I suppose if you're able to get access to that and say, oh, okay, I've got 50 Mrs. Smiths, this is what happened to their heart rate, this is how their heart rate's improving, I could see there's a lot of power in that.
And the second market to that is that the consumer who produced that data now has the ability to sell that data to insurance companies. Because now, when you go ahead and know that you're capturing IoT device data, biometric data, you can then go ahead and sell it to an insurance company if they wanted to, because these are the markets that are becoming available. Health data markets, because individuals are capturing with their biometrics, their wallet becomes the way to access it, and you can get royalties off of it.
Interesting.
So we've been able to transition into many different areas. You might have something.
So an interesting thing, before it leaves my head, is if you have a wallet, you're never going to give that wallet address or those security keys to anybody, because it's your money. But what you can do is, if I'm exercising and I'm consistently doing and I'm earning the health token, there's going to be a network of doctors within this that I can say, I don't have health insurance, because health insurance is fucking expensive and I can't afford it. But I work my ass off and I'm earning these health tokens 5 days a week, 4 days a week. I'm exercising, staying healthy. What can I do? Call a doctor within the CFI network and use my health tokens to pay for to settle with my doctor.
The doctor can swap it for gold later.
I think that's another interesting thing, because I know when you have to get life insurance or any kind of insurance, you then go and have a medical and they look at stuff. I suppose as there are more and more devices that are continuously tracking, I was at CES last week. You can almost say, well, look, suck my data out of these things, present it in a way, and here's my key metrics over 10 years. You can now sort of, without question,
that's it.
Prove how healthy am I.
You can start saying that your health isn't based on your lack of exercise. Maybe your health is based on genetics. Maybe your health is based on maybe you have some type of disease or something. You see where it goes to, where now it's transparent and tracked. The reason it's going to be true that it's really my biometric data is because I'm not giving somebody else my IoT to have access to my wallet. It's like saying, here's my bank account, I trust you.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So it's a very secure way to do it.
So is there anyone else out there doing this yet?
There are people that are trying to go ahead and break into using blockchain to raise capital for opening gyms.
Okay.
However, the way that we've set it all up, I've described a few things, but it really goes into intellectual property when it comes to blockchain is protected by code. And in this case, there's 2 layers. Is the token able to go ahead and give individuals access to the content, right? Because if you don't have the token, you don't get access to the content. That's called token-gated ecosystems. And that's the value in these digital assets, right? In the sense that
It's like $1 paying for a video. It just has different words.
Yeah.
for us, one of the things that we're looking at for gyms, it's essentially the ability to be part of these ecosystems so that maybe a gym sells a gym membership and now you get value for that gym membership. Let's call it a VIP membership. And then that individual that has that NFT, big franchises, if they have that NFT, they can go to any of the locations.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Because that's a universal franchise pass in a sense. I hope that clears it up.
Yeah, it does. It's I appreciate you being here. I know the show's closed. They've
Thank you
kicked
so
us
much.
out of the room up there.
Yeah.
We're here. This is why this
thank
looks a little bit different to all the other ones. But look, I really appreciate it. We should talk more. I think there's some interesting stuff to
It's been such a pleasure.
to learn here. And thank you as well, my friend.
Always my brother.
All right.
Thank you. I'll go. You're amazing.
Let's go.